All I want is the name of the Lord. All I want is the name of the Lord.
Son of God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this hour and all that you have done. Now open up our hearts and our minds that we may hear your word, that we may be doers of your word. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. We've been dealing with faith in a dry season. And for the first time in my life, in 54 years of living, this is the driest that I've seen our country. Let's just be real. I'm talking about from my experience. You all that have been here a little bit longer than I have, you've seen worse. But right now, in 54 years of living, I've never seen anything like this before. We never saw anything like the pandemic either. But we've never seen anything like this where no health care, Medicare, all the different things that are going on. And it's easy to test your faith to see if you really are walking with God. So at the end of the day, we reviewed from last week. We were in Romans. Let's go to Romans chapter 4, verse 17. I want to revisit that verse so we can get into it, because Romans chapter 4, verse 17 says some stuff, but we've interpreted wrong over the last 200 years in the church. Romans chapter 4, verse 17. And remember, this is God talking about Abraham. It's not talking about us. It says, before him whom he believed, even God who quickens the dead and calls those things that are not as though they what? Were. So we told people in church at the altar, because I'm connected to God, I got the power to call those things that are not as though they were. Watch how that works. God, I need him out of office. He's still in office. I called it God, I see him out of, he's still in office. We forget the fact that when you look in the first part of this verse, it says God raises the dead and he calls those things that are not as though they were. Because if we had power to call those things that are not as though they were, we wouldn't need Jesus. Let's just be real. If I could call those things out with my mouth, why am I praying to God to make a way out of no way? If I could call those things out with my mouth, what's the purpose of me going to work? I can just say tonight, I need $10 million in each account in Jesus' name, amen. It doesn't work that way. Now, I'm not going to tell y'all, well, I can tell y'all how I know it doesn't work that way, because back in my younger days, I had some requests that I asked God for, and God's like, I'm not doing that, because at the end of the day, we've taken that verse and we made people think that all they have to do, watch, is name it and claim it. I just say it and God is going to do it. I have an uncle right now. I love him to death, but he's been homeless and toothless for quite some time, and he keeps telling us, I've got the power to speak money into my wallet, but you ain't never had the power to speak a job into your life. You hear what I'm saying? So it's more to it than just our words. It's more to it than just our words. So here it is. Write this down. And when we talk about faith, write this down. A dry season requires wet faith. A dry season requires wet faith. And I'm explaining that. A dry season requires wet faith. For all of you watching online, hashtag God, hashtag church, hashtag Jesus. So a dry season requiring wet faith suggests, I play basketball a lot, and when we're on the basketball court, for a person that has a jumper, we used to say he's got a real good jumper. Now we say that his jumper is wet. When we say it's wet, that means that when he shoots the shot, it consistently goes into the basket. The only way that the ball is going to go consistently into the basket is if the person that is popping the shot, they actually are consistent in their rehearsal and their practice. So what I'm saying is that in a dry season, you got to have enough, watch this, patience to know that things look bad right now, but they've got the power to look better. Things are messed up right now, but if I keep holding on, eventually it's going to get better. What's the old verbiage? Trouble don't last always. So you hear people say, I'm just going through so much. Okay, I get it, but you're not going to go through for long. Everybody that is born is not born and every day is just messed up. You got to have some good days. That's why you got to watch who you sit next to in church. How you doing today? I'm just going through. Okay, well, I need you to go ahead and go through so you can smile, because I'm tired of you being mad at the world. Just shout, run, do something. Are you hear what I'm saying? So the key word in that is patience. Okay, let's go to Hebrews chapter 6, verse 15. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 6, verse 15. And I think that's where I want to get started in that. Yes. Hebrews chapter 6, verse 15. And when somebody grabs that, please read that. If you're watching online, type that in the notes. Hebrews chapter 6, verse 15. And don't everybody read at once. Go ahead, I'm sorry. Notice what it says. After he patiently endured, he obtained the promise. This is God's commitment to those that maintain their faith in hard times. There's a few things that we do consistently when we're in hard times. But the one thing we do not do in hard times, watch this, here's that word, we don't complain. We complain about everything, Miss Miller, and then what happens is that when we hear somebody saying, I've had some good days, I won't complain, but you just walked in church complaining. The air is too cold. It's too hot. I'm tired. I need a snack. Where's my Pepsi? My hat. Like, no, if you're going to be patient, that means that you're going to go through some trials. You're going to go through tribulations, and yet it's not going to last always. I can use all of my baby boomers in here right now. Everybody that's in here right now walked through the civil rights movement. You survived it. Then you have some decades where things went good. Then you have some years where things went bad. And now here you are again in a new millennium, in a new decade, and a new time. And the same stuff y'all saw at 20, you see it again. It doesn't mean that it's going to be every single day. It's write that word down, situational. Trouble is situational. It's not going to be trouble every single day. You're not going to have that every day. But because we're not patient, we can get overwhelmed in our trials. So how do we respond to what we see now? How do we respond to a government that does not like people that look like us? How do we respond to a government that is more money-minded instead of country-minded? How do we respond? Number one, endurance. Number one, endurance. You have to endure whatever it is that you're going through. When a lady is having a baby, she goes through the first, second, and third trimester. She deals with heartburn. She deals with the baby in her rib cage. She has to deal with a whole plethora of things. And when her water breaks that day and she's going into labor, when she begins to dilate and she goes through that process, she has to patiently go through that process. And the key word that they tell every mother when she's going through the process of labor is one word. What's that word? Push. In other words, if you stop pushing, the pain gonna last longer. But if you keep pushing, you have to continually push. You have to endure. It's gonna happen. You're gonna have those days. Think about this. Jesus goes through nails in his hand, nails in his feet, crown of thorns on his head, pierced in the side. Rewind. His best friend, one of his friends, betrays him, Judas. He's on the cross, before he's on the cross, he's being marched from judgment hall to judgment hall. The only person he sees is John, because everybody else left. One of his disciples sells him out for a piece of silver. The people in church basically called him a liar, said he wasn't God. Other people outside the church tried to unalive him. And then he goes through all of this, and then when he gets on the cross, he sees his mama, he sees his friend, but he doesn't see his daddy. Imagine that mental pain that he had to go through. But prior to that, we're not going to say that Jesus had all bad days. That's the Son of God. If he has to go through hell in order to obtain the promise, what makes you think we don't have to go through hell? So number one, when we see what we see right now, endurance. Watch this. Number two, prayer. Number two, prayer. Prayer may not change the situation, but prayer will change you for the situation. I've been praying for years, and when 2016 came, I did extra prayers because I did not want this foolishness in the White House. And guess what? My prayer did not get answered. He's still in the White House. So because prayer may not change the situation, prayer is going to help me adapt to the situation. So that means that when things look bad, because I prayed, I can still shout. Because I prayed, I can still dance. Because I prayed, I can still endure what I'm going through. And that's not just an aspect of church. That's in everything. When I'm in the middle of the grocery store and I see something happening that I can't control, I have to pray for those people, because even though I can't change their situation, I got to help. God has to help change me. So when you pray, it literally changes you. But watch this. The next thing you got to do in the midst of what we see now, worship. Endure. Pray, now worship. Watch this, write this down. Worship is a conditioner. Worship is a conditioner. Ladies in the what does conditioner do to your hair? Uh-oh, it does what? Relaxes. What else? Huh? Softens. What else? Detangle. Worship is a conditioner. Soft, but watch. Detangle. When you worship, all the stuff that is tangled up in your life gets straightened out, because God puts it in perspective. I got bills here. I have insurance I can't pay. My husband is sick. My wife is cheating on me. My daughter's in prison. My son just unalived somebody and is in jail. I'm going through all of this and my life is tangled. But when I begin to worship, it untangles what's tangled. When I begin to worship God in the midst of what I'm going through, watch, I don't concern myself with what's going on, because I'm saturated in Him. And when I worship Him, by the time I really get through worshiping, He puts things in perspective. So now I can handle what I can handle, but I can also give to God what I need to give to God. Be careful. We tell people, I let God handle all things in my life. No, you don't. When you woke up this morning, how many of y'all brush your teeth? Y'all better raise y'all's hands. I'm gonna talk about okay. All right, so when you woke up this morning, God did not do this to you. That was you. You got up and you did that because that's what you can handle. Does that make sense? Who all washed up this morning? Y'all better raise y'all's hands quick. Don't play with me. When you washed up this morning, you didn't go to the shower. God, let the water fall down from heaven in the name of Jesus. You turned the water on. You applied soap. I pray you applied soap. You applied soap and you washed yourself, because that's something you can control. I got a phone call, and the phone call said that my grandbaby and my other grandbaby got locked up. That's something you can't control. And because you can't control it, you have to pray and give it to God, and you have to worship so God will eventually untangle what's been tangled. Is this making sense? And then finally, after you've endured, prayed, and worshiped, watch this, then you gave. Here's the thing, you're giving. I'm not necessarily talking about money. I'm talking about caring for people. I'm talking about giving somebody a kind word. I'm talking about helping we don't see people help anymore. We go and we ask one question. It's something that we learn in corporate America. It's called WIFM, W-I-I-F-M. What's in it for me? As long as I get something out of it, I don't care about none of y'all. And we have people like that in our family. They don't care about us, but when it's something they want, they will call you every single day. Once they get what they want, you don't hear from them no more. I've learned how to disconnect my phone. I'm so serious. Listen, my sister-in-law years ago, because I haven't talked to her since because she needs Jesus. I'm praying for her. Caitlin was 3 months old. Family ain't said nothing to us. Hi, love you, whatever. And we've always been a giving family, and we help people when we can. She called us and said that. She says, now y'all know that y'all say that the family needs something, and y'all give. I said, we give because God's been good or whatever. Well, can I claim y'all's baby on my taxes? I can't say what I said because we in church and I'm on live on TikTok and I don't want to take, yeah. So when she said that, I said, excuse me? And she was like, well, you said that y'all like to give and I want to know if I can go ahead and claim y'all's baby on taxes. And I said some 4-letter words that weren't Mark, Luke, or John. Then I told Netta, you need to talk to your sister. And I'm saying this because if you're giving to somebody, you're giving out of your heart. You're giving because God has been good. Either you're going to give abundantly or you're going to give sacrificially. What makes the community better is if we see somebody in need and we help them. There was a time where people could sense what you needed, and they would help you in that. Nowadays, we're selfish. People want to get rich. The people in your family want you to get rich. They just want to get rich before you get rich. That's why they'll never call you until they need something, and then when you need them, they disappear. So when we talk about dealing with faith in the dry season, after you've endured, worship, prayed, and gave, watch this. Now, over your own life, you have to speak life. Let's go to Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs 18 and 21. Let's go to Proverbs 18 and 21. And I think that's where, oh yeah, that's it. Proverbs 18 and 21. And somebody, if you would, put that online. Proverbs 18:21. And this is a very familiar passage. Proverbs 18:21. Ding, 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 ding. Uh-oh. Death and life are where? The power of the what? The tongue. Now, we've misinterpreted that scripture, and we say, I speak life. You can speak life with your mouth, but if you're not giving life with your life, then you're not giving life. Don't miss what I just said. We say that the power of life and death is what? In the tongue. So we've had people to misinterpret that, to think that, well, I speak $1 million in my bank account. You can speak it all day. That doesn't mean it's going to appear. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And one of the biggest deceptions of Speak Life is Peter Popoff. He's on BET every night from 11 in the evening until 3 o'clock in the morning. And Miss Val, he went to jail for this 20 years ago. And he jumps on BET and he says, supernatural power, it's in the spring water. I poured the spring water over my bills and I got money, and all you got to do is just send. And right now there's supernatural. And then you'll see people online, I got a check for $150,000. I got another check for $3,000. Stop. That's not how that works. Y'all laughing, but listen, he went to prison the first time because his wife would have a transceiver in her ear, and he would have a receiver in his ear. And when people would come in, say Miss Val walked in, and she came in with Yasmin, and they walked in together, and he would say, what's your name? Val, what's your name? Yasmin. And then she would relay that message to him. So then he would walk through the crowd. The Spirit is showing me tonight that there's somebody here that walked in together. Is there a Yasmin? And if she's weak in faith, oh my God, that's me! Like it's a Price is Right. I'm saying this, ladies and gentlemen, because here it is. If you speak it, now you have to work it. Write this down, write this down, write this down. After you speak it, then work it. After you speak it, then work it. The Gospel of Missy Elliott, you got to work it if it's worth it. If you don't want to put in the work, nothing is going to happen. Please don't miss that. So while you're working it, here's that word again, patience. It took us years to grow our hair. It took us years to grow. It took us years to learn how to live life. It took us a little while to learn how to drive a car. It took us a while to learn how to cook. Everything that we do takes time. You have to be patient. Write this down. Write this down. Patience is when faith is applied over a long period of time. Patience is when faith is applied over a long period of time. I'm going to say that one more time. Patience is when faith is applied over a long period of time. So you're trying to put your life back together, and you have to be patient. You have to be faithful. But you have to realize, watch, that if it's taking you time to get your life back together, it took you time to screw your life up. I'm saying that as a personal testimony because that's my testimony. It took me some time to get in with the wrong people to mess my life up. So then I had to dig myself out of a hole. And in the midst of digging myself out of a hole, I had to have patience. It is over a period of time. Weight loss. Remember, let's go back. What's today's date? July 2nd, 2025. December 30th last year, y'all remember, my New Year's resolution is going to be lose weight. And you went out and bought outfits thinking that you was going to fit those outfits. I'm saying that from my own personal testimony. And then you said, I got this on sale for such and such for $3, and I got these shoes and this and that. Is that it ain't my size, but I'm going to lose weight to get into it. Ain't lost a pound yet? Because we did not have the patience and the endurance, because we said it with our mouth, but we did not work the process. So we said that I'm going to lose the weight, my own testimony. And I said, well, if I'm trying to lose weight, I'm only going to get a little piece of cake. I'm only going to get a little piece of lasagna. I'm only going to get a little pinch of the cookie. I'm only going to get a little pinch here. Not realizing that while you're taking that one pinch and the other pinch and the other pinch, all them pinches is added up. We don't look at it that way. So we think that I'm just going to eat a little. The key word is that when you're trying to lose weight, whether physical weight or spiritual weight, it is endurance, because it takes time to get rid of some people that's evil in your life. Just like it takes time to lose weight. So watch, here's the thing. When I want to push over to something. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 10. Hebrews 10 and 35 and 36. And I want to get deeper into this, because most of us can't really have faith really because of who we're connected to. Plays a huge role. Most of us cannot have faith based on who we are connected to. Hebrews 10, 35 and 36. 3, 2, 1. Watch this. Is confidence and recompense on your paper? Is it okay? So watch. The confidence is the substance of faith, and the recompense is the compensation of your faith. Don't miss that. What that suggests is that when you are faithful in God, He will reward you. And you have to remember something. I'm not talking about cash, cars, and cribs. In church, as soon as we say reward or prosperity, we naturally think money. You can have a whole bunch of money and be in a world of hurt and hell. P. Diddy is still on trial right now. All the money that we will never see, and yet he still is in. Are you getting what I'm saying? So it has nothing to do with money. Sometimes the payback of the compensation is being able to sleep at night. You know how many people do this? They lay down, they flick to a station, they see something they like, and then they watch it, and they say, I'm gonna fall asleep, and then they doze for 30 seconds, they wake back up. Now they got to turn the pillow over, put their face on the cold side of the pillow. Then they go back up, they try to go to another channel. Then they turn to BET, supernatural power. That wakes you up a little bit more. Now you get up and go to the kitchen, you try to drink a glass of water to help you go to sleep. People go through that every night, and they got a bank filled with money, because sometimes the compensation of faith is being able to sleep at night. Sometimes the compensation of faith is being able to have joy in the midst of all of the hell that we see around us. So here's the thing. The problem is that when we want to be patient and stay the same, oftentimes we can't, because guess what? Our peace is disturbed. Don't miss this. In order to have patience in everything that you go through, you got to be able to guard your peace. It's about to get real ugly right in through here. You and I have a choice to choose, watch, who to entertain or what to entertain. We have a tendency to entertain anything. I learned about 30 years ago that whenever I had dramatic family members come to try to call me with foolishness, Miss Miller, the moment that I hear, guess what I heard? I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. No, Marvin, I'm trying to tell you, hallelujah, salvation and glory, honor and power. After a while, they stop calling. I can't have peace if you're already trying to disturb it every time it looks like I have peace. I'm saying this because everybody has that one family member. They don't call you to say hi on the 411. They call you on the 911. Charlie Ray got popped. My son in jail. Can you help? No, how about you call me to say, hey, how you doing today? Stop allowing people to disturb your peace. Watch this. Write this down if it's not on your paper. We endure attacks by association. Is that on your paper? Attacks by association. Who is it that is in your phone right now that keeps affecting your peace? Now, here's what you don't see. When people come to disturb your peace, it sounds like this. If they always call you when things go bad and they called it, they're coming to disturb your peace. So you got yourself in a mess, and now you want to call me to get you out of the mess that you got yourself in. You're disturbing are you hear what I'm saying? If they always call you when they need prayer, but they don't associate with God or church, that's disturbing your peace. So you don't want to develop a relationship to talk to God for yourself. You want to eliminate God and have me pray for you so you can still keep acting like a fool in the streets. I'm not going to be your middleman. You need to learn how to pray for yourself. But if you call me every time something goes wrong, watch. And I've invited you to church for the past 10 years and you talk about church, drag pastors and drag church. I'm not going to, you learn how to pray for yourself. Because you're coming to disturb don't miss what I just said. You're coming to disturb my peace. Watch this. If I'm at a place of tranquility and peace, and you're calling me to tell me everything that went wrong and you're messing up my peace, here's the thing. Go to Job chapter 14, verse 1. Go to Job chapter 14, verse 1. Real quick. Job 14 and 1. This is going to be it. This is going to be it right here. Job 14 and 1. And this is something that just irks my nerves. And as a believer, it should mess with you too. Job 14 and 1. Somebody read that real quick. So, Job 14 and 1 says, a man that is born of a woman is born and is full of trouble. In other words, when I'm born, I've already got problems. So if I've already got issues, why am I letting you add to the issues I already have? So-and-so got locked up and I'm going to need help. Well, I went to the doctor this morning and they said I might be dealing with a cancer situation. I know that, but listen, I just need you. Did you miss what I just said? If I already have trouble going on, why am I going to add your stuff to the stuff I already have? And that's why you don't have peace, because you are trying to take care of everybody else's stuff, but you never take care of your own. When you're on an airplane, as soon as you hear the captain speak, this is Captain Jones. We're going to be flying at about 25,000 feet. And if we reach any air pockets, oxygen is going to fall from the sky. And make sure you secure your mask before you secure anybody else's. If you try to secure everybody else's mask, you're not going to be able to breathe. Even the pilot says, take care of you first, then you can help everybody else. So here's the thing. If you have trouble going on in your life, I get it. But if I got my own trouble that I'm dealing with, walk away. If you don't walk away and certain people that's not saved, they're going to cuss you out. Because if I'm already dealing with stuff, think about this. Everybody here that has been through something to the point where you got so mad you had to get in the house and not talk to anybody. So life began to hit you so hard, and then life came from another place, and then life came from another place. And then your husband started tripping. Your wife started tripping. All this stuff started happening. And now you're like, if one more person say something to me, this is the trouble I have to deal with. So when you call me and you say you're in trouble, and I tell you about the troubles I have, the only thing I'm going to do, watch this, write this word down, I'm going to pray. I'm going to pray that you keep your sanity while I try to keep my sanity. But I'm not about to leave my problems to go take care of yours. And make no mistake, some people will use you to take care of their problems, and then when you got to borrow a cup of sugar, they're nowhere to be found. That's what they do, because they don't care about you. They just want their problem fixed. Don't miss that. And here's the problem. If I already have drama in my life, if I already got hell in my life, if I already got a bunch of crap that's going on in my life, now, because I feel like God is not answering me, I prayed about my son. I prayed about my daughter. I prayed about my girlfriend. I prayed about my boyfriend. I prayed about my finances. Everybody else around me, God, looks to be smiling and having a ball, and here I am broken. And sometimes it can get to the point where it looks like God is not answering your prayer, and you feel, watch, distant. Because I'm in church every Sunday, but yet I don't hear God. I pray every day, but I don't hear God. I fast all the time, but I don't hear, and you can feel distant. And when you begin to feel distant, you feel cold, like God doesn't love you. And let's be real, all of us have been at a point where we say, God, there's so much going on right now. Do you really hear and see what I'm going through right now? Go to Psalms 22 and 1. Go to Psalms 22 and 1. And this is everybody's mindset when we're going through, because you're like, God, I give, I pray, I fast, I respect people, I love everybody, I obey most traffic laws. I do everything I'm supposed to do, and yet I'm crying out to you, and you don't hear me though. Like, what's going on? Psalms 22 and 1. Somebody read that real quick. Keep going. Watch. He says, my God, why hast thou forsaken? Where have we heard that before? Come on Calvary. He's on Calvary. Wait, the Son of God is on Calvary. And even the Son of God felt abandoned. God, wait a minute. Daddy, didn't you see me heal the woman with the issue of blood? Didn't you see me raise Lazarus from the grave? Didn't you watch me heal the woman with the spirit of infirmity? Didn't you see me touch the coffin and the little boy came to life? Didn't you see Nicodemus come to me at night and I changed his whole life? Didn't you see me at the sycamore tree with Zacchaeus? Didn't you see me heal the 10 lepers that walked up that could not touch? I did all of this for the kingdom, and in the middle of what I'm going through, you don't hear me? You can feel that way. This is why it's important to be connected, because when you're connected, he's only going to walk away for a little while. If you are a parent and you have more than one child, raise your hand. Watch. If you have more than one child, you couldn't carry all them kids at the same time. Who was going to grab 5 kids and just walk? You had to pick up one and deal with them individually. If you had a daughter, you couldn't deal with the daughter the same way you dealt with the son. If Christmas came around, you couldn't give your son a doll and give your little girl a Tonka truck. You gave the boy the truck and the girl the doll. You handled them individually. When you're going through your trials and your tribulations, God sees what you're going through, but he has to handle each person individually. We never look at it that way. We just think that he's just supposed to come. He has to handle. Right now, as I'm teaching a class, his omnipresence is in Japan delivering somebody away from persecution. Right now, his spirit is in the Congo trying to deliver people that are in war. He handles people differently. So David says, my God, why have you left me? Notice, David asked the question, but God doesn't answer. Because it should be common sense by now that if he'll never leave me then that means that he's going to be here. I just don't see him. Our youngest daughter, Kyla, was a stalker. She's still a stalker, but she was a stalker when she was little. I go to the bathroom. She's just now learning how to walk. I try to jump in. You know how when you got little ones, you try to jump in, close the door. Here she goes. Kyla, Daddy will be out in a minute. What you doing? I'm doing something. Daddy be out in a minute. Stalker. Pure stalker. So after I come out of the bathroom, she does the head to toe. Where you been? I've been on the other side of the door. So then she'll go sit in her little chair, because she'd know that when the church that I was pastoring, I would come home on the weekends and do different things if Netta had to leave. So I'm cooking and I put food on the table, on her little table. So one day when she got older, she's like, Daddy, I'm just hungry. I said, okay, we're going to eat. Okay. A little bit later, a few months later, Daddy, I'm hungry. Aren't you going to feed me? Little girl, I need you to go sit down somewhere, because I'm going to feed you every time you get hungry. When she began to get older, Miss Val, Daddy, I am so hungry. Why are you taking so long? I said, why are you so annoying? Walk over there and sit down. I'm going to cook food. Leave me alone. I'm saying all of this because even though she thought I was neglecting her, I was still right there. We think that God is neglecting us. He's not neglecting us. He's still right there. That's what we mean by presence and providence. He's there. But as I'm there, she says, I'm hungry. I can't feed her yet because I'm in the middle of preparing the thing that she's been waiting on. While you are in a dry season, while you are broken, you have to remember that God is in the middle of preparing something for you. And here's that word again, patience. They that wait upon the Lord shall what? Renew. We don't want to wait We're in the microwave generation. Popcorn, immediate. Meatloaf in the microwave. I bet not ever hear about none of y'all. Meatloaf in the microwave is a thing on the internet. Trust me when I tell you. Brisket in the certain stuff you need to cook on the stove and in the oven. When you are patient, you don't mind God taking his time. We live in the microwave generation. We're in a microwave. When you go to your favorite restaurant and you order all this stuff and you thinking the chef is preparing my food, that chef is doing this. Open the microwave. And they just come and put it on the plate, put garnish. You thinking, that looks nice. It was microwaved. It wasn't cooked. In order for the blessing to be worth it, watch this. Learn how to wait. Write that down. In order for the blessing to be worth it, learn how to wait. We don't want to wait. We want everything microwaved immediately. Years ago, the only person that won't remember this will be Yasmin. Yes. I'm going for. Can y'all tell her what I just said? In order, I'm gonna say it in a different way. The blessing is going to be worth it. You just have to have patience. Say that. The blessing is going to be worth it. You just have to have patience. Years ago, the only person that's not going to remember this is Yasmin. Y'all remember back in the day where if you didn't get to the bank at 4 o'clock on Friday, you didn't get to the bank at all, and you had that bank book. My grandmother would have her bank book, $100 in the bank, and as soon as she bring out her bank book, she look at us, and we're like, we're not trying to take your money. So she would balance her little book, and then she had a coin purse, and I don't know if y'all remember the coin purse. In the coin purse, it was a bunch of 50-cent pieces. Marvin, get my coin purse. Yes, ma'am. And I go, and this thing is like 30 pounds, and I'm trying to drag it to her. When I get to her, she looks at me, she looks at, and then she opens it up, and I'm just, listen. I said that to make y'all laugh. Listen, it's patience. Back in the day, the baby boomers understood that if I'm a cook, I'm gonna take my time. If I'm gonna handle business, I'm gonna take my time. Everything back in the day, you had to take your time. There was no Walmart Supercenter. Every restaurant closed at 9 o'clock. Now, everything is 24 hours. You can go to McDonald's, 24 hours. You can go to ShopRite, 24 hours. If you needed to borrow money from somebody, you ain't got to wait to see them on Monday morning. Cash App, done. God does not operate like that. And the problem as to why we don't want to have faith is because we're so busy thinking that the rest of our lives runs quickly. So now God has to move at my speed. God is not going to move at your speed. It's a process. So watch. Think about the planets. And this is what we mean by it can get discouraging and it can feel cold. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. I still call Pluto a planet. I don't care what the school teachers say. If they made us learn Pluto, Pluto is still a planet. They tried to say a couple years ago that Pluto was no longer a planet. Pluto is a planet. I had to learn it. It's a planet. When you are in Mercury, you can't survive because it's close to the sun. When you're in Venus, you can't survive because it's close to the sun. But when you're on Earth, you feel the sun at different times. Then when you get to Mars, you feel a little bit of it. Then Jupiter and Saturn, the condition gets a little cold. Uranus and Neptune, it gets real cold. Pluto is dead because the planet that's farthest away from the sun actually feels cold. The person that is the furthest away from the SON feels that life is cold. So that's why relationship and connection is important. Let's go to Jeremiah. I'm looking at my time. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 17. And now I'm going to talk about how we work our faith, how we work faith. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 7 and 8. If you're watching live, put that on. Jeremiah 17, verse 7 and 8. 7 and 8. And I see y'all online. Y'all might as well go ahead and hashtag FYP, hashtag church. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 7 and 8. Verse 7 and 8. Watch what it says. It says, blessed is a man that trusteth in who? The Lord, and whose hope the Lord is. Watch what it says. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, and that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when he comes, but her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither cease from yielding fruit. Here, over the next few minutes, I'm going to talk about what faith is as it's worked, and we're just going to use verse 8. Look at verse 8 where it says, for he shall be as a tree planted by the waters. Write this word down, rooted. 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 We see that in the book in Psalms, and he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. I'm rooted. So when I have faith, I'm rooted. I'm rooted. When you see tornadoes, and when you see hurricanes, and when rough weather comes, like we had here a couple of weeks ago, I'm looking out the window. I've always had this fetish of watching the storm start and end. My mother would yell at me, close the door, cut off the electricity. I'm like, the storm. Why I gotta cut off the electricity? Because when the storm comes through, it's gonna mess it up. Y'all remember that back in the day? They cut off all the lights because that's gonna mess up the electricity. Miss Miller, I got whipped one day because I said, well, if we're gonna do that, we might as well unplug the refrigerator. And everything that's electrical, since, it's just something that we used to say. But I like watching the storm, and I'm sitting and I'm watching out the living room, and I began to see it got dark. After it got dark, then I began to see papers flying, and then I began to see, other little things flying. And then Miss Val, our little orange receptacle, started dancing on the street, boom, boom, boom. And I was like, oh, I said the wind is picking up. Here comes Kyla. Daddy, shouldn't we be going in the basement? I said, no, we're not going to the basement. If a tornado comes, I said, a tornado needs room to get moving. I said, Chester's like this, and it ain't going to happen like that. She's like, okay, well, we're going in the basement. And I'm watching as the receptacles began to dance, and then I'm looking at bushes and all types of other stuff. There's a pine tree in the front of the parsonage, and while I'm watching all these other trees crack and break, the pine tree's like this. Like the thing you see outside the car lot, it don't break. It bends, but it doesn't break. Look at what the verse says. It says, he shall be like a tree planted by what? Waters. The reason why a tree that cannot be broken is planted by the water is what strengthens the tree. When you have living water in your spirit, when you are in the word, when the storm comes, you will bend, but you're not going to break. Watch. He says, planted by the rivers of water, that's rooted. Watch this. And spreadeth out her roots by the river. Write this word down. Everywhere. Everywhere. I'm in verse 8. I'm using verse 8 as a backdrop. In verse 8, he says, for he shall be like a tree planted by the waters. That means that you're rooted. And spreads out her roots by the river. That means everywhere. That means that whatever situation comes your way, you have to apply faith in that situation. You can't be selective in your faith. Here's what we do. God, help me to get healthy. Okay, I got you. God, help me to get my finances together. I got you. God, help me get my baby together. I got you. You don't want me to help you find love? No, God, I got that one, because some of the people you picked for me wasn't attractive. I don't know about that. We pick and choose when we want to have faith. And chances are God showed you the one, but in our ignorance and in our lack of faith, we said, God, you told me that I should be with her. I don't know about that because she ain't my type. And sometimes, watch this, sometimes your preference can run away your promise. Write that down. Sometimes your preference can run away your promise. God promised you certain things, but because your preference is messed up, I want a man making six figures. If you only work at Wendy's, you don't deserve a man making six figures. You need to be equally yoked. Y'all see how quiet it got? Same thing with men. I want a woman that's 36, 24, 36 and making good money because she need to be able to work. But if you living in your mama's basement, you don't deserve a woman that's making that kind of money. I'm saying this, ladies and gentlemen, because if you're going to have faith, you have to apply it in all things. Don't allow God to lead you with your body, lead you with your finances, but not lead you with your love life and lead you with your faith. It's everywhere all the time at the same time. Write this down. Wow. Your faith needs to be omnipresent. Woo! Your faith needs to be omnipresent. Everywhere God shows up, my faith is going to show up. Everywhere it looks like he's going to show, my faith is going to show up wherever God shows up. My faith is going to be omnipresent in my life in every aspect. Watch. For you shall be like a tree planted by the waters that's rooted, spreads out roots by the river that's everywhere. Watch this. And shall not see when the heat comes. Watch this. I don't feel pressure. I don't feel pressure. I don't feel pressure. I tell Latika, I tell the deacons and trustees all the time, if y'all see me panic, panic. Other than that, I can't panic. And the reason why I can't panic is because I've been through so much hell where I had faith in God and because he's never failed me yet, why would I start panicking now? I would have panicked at 17, but now where I am right now, I'm not going to panic. Surviving prostate cancer, surviving spine surgery, surviving a massive heart attack, having hip surgery. Now yesterday, funny part, when it started thundering and lightning outside, I was trying to hurry up and get inside because I had bags and I have a titanium hip. I ain't trying to get struck by lightning because that'd be the one thing that well, guess what happened to Pastor? He got struck by lightning. How he get struck by lightning? Girl, he got a titanium hip. He should have got a plastic one. Y'all know how we are. I'm saying this because life will have you thinking that you're under pressure, but write this down. Apply faith to your pressure. Apply faith to I've got enough faith to know that this is only temporary. I got enough faith to know that this sickness is only temporary. I got enough faith to know that God can make a way when I can't see a way. Therefore, I don't feel pressure. I'm unfazed. Write that word down. Unfazed. UNPHASED. I am unfazed. Whatever I go through, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Same God that saved me in 1970 is the same one that saved me in 82, is the same one that can save me in 2025. I got to apply my faith. I don't have pressure. Watch. It says, but her leaf shall be green. Write this word down, produce. When everybody else is not producing. When you have faith, you still produce. Everybody else is struggling, and I still have food downstairs. Everybody else is wondering how they're going to make ends meet. Everybody else is losing their mind over people. I'm still able to produce in a dry season. That's major. When you look at production in a dry season, okay, 1938, 39, Great Depression, and they had men jumping out of windows because they lost all of their money. And during the Great Depression, they basically said, babe, they called their wives, we lost everything. Well, honey, come home and we're going to pray and we're going to make this right. Okay, babe, I'm on my way. He opened up the window and just jumped out because he lost everything. And those were the times where they invented the welfare system. And the welfare system never applied to black women. It only applied to rich white women who lost their husbands. When the rich white women were getting welfare, they were actually able to be put into places called projects. They did not let black people in projects, and they did not let black people be on welfare. But in the midst of a Great Depression, grandma was still cooking hot water cornbread. In the midst of a Great Depression, grandpa was still making hooch in the barn. In the midst of a Great Depression, y'all was still eating, and you never suffer because we know how to produce in a dry season. Don't miss what I just said. And watch this. Finally, he says, and not be careful in the year of drought. Write this down. Produce when other people are struggling. I can produce joy when other people are mad at the world. I can produce peace when everybody else is losing their mind. I've still got my mind because I'm producing in a dry season. Why are you so calm? Because everything else is going on around you, because I know the one that's in charge of the storm. I'm able to stay calm because I know what I'm not able to handle. And when I know what I'm not able to handle, I have enough peace to know that in the midst of everybody losing their mind, I've still got my mind. That's why the old church would say, he kept me in my right mind. When you know who is in control, you don't panic. Little girl's father is on a plane with her, and they fly to different cities all over the world. And one particular time, the father ended up having to separate from the daughter because he had to do some stuff for work. And then he ended up having to get back to the city where the daughter was, and he told the daughter, I need you to get on the plane, and I'll meet you on the plane. As they both are on the plane, he gets a phone call. And when he gets a phone call, they tell him that the pilot that was supposed to fly the plane has called off. So now her dad has to leave his seat, go to be the pilot on the plane. plane. They take off on the plane, and all the other people that were coming on board thought that the little girl was by herself. Plane takes off. Once it hits a little turbulence, comes back up, and then it gets in a rough storm. As the plane is in the rough storm, the little girl's just sitting there playing on her tablet. Everybody else on the plane is, oh, God, Jesus, oh, God, oh, what's going on? And then finally, the plane gets through the storm, the plane lands, and the people walk by, little girl, how were you so calm? How were you able to just play on your tablet after what we went through? She said, it's easy. My father's the captain. When you have enough trust in the Father, when the storms of life come, you don't panic. Because it's simple. If he watched over me then, he's able to watch over me now. When you have faith in a dry season, write this word down. Write this word down. I'm done. Whatever. Whatever. I don't mean that from the ghetto. Whatever. No. I mean whatever comes my way. I'm going to apply my faith to whatever comes. See, y'all thought I was saying the whatever. See, for y'all online, they thought about whatever. I don't care what you say. No, whatever it is, I'm going to apply my faith to whatever it is that I'm going through. Because here's the thing. You got two choices. You can apply your faith to what you're going through, or you can sit in the house like a worry. Oh Lord, what we gonna do? Make it into a song. Oh Lord, what we gonna do? Oh Lord. No, you got to give it to the one that's able to handle what you can't handle. Go back to the airplane. When everybody's getting on the airplane, they didn't just get on the plane. They gave their baggage to the person on the outside, because the plane is not able to take off unless the baggage is under control. God will put your baggage under control and deal and fix with what you can't deal with. Let's pray. Eternal God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this hour and all the things that you have done. Now, oh God, open up our hearts in this dry season. Help us to minister one to another with all of the things that we see going on around us, God. It is easy to give up. It is easy to throw in the towel. It is easy to walk away. But God, give us strength to endure. Give us praise on our lips, Father God, that even in the midst of this, we know that you are still able. So God, we thank you. God, we love you. And